Good day to all of you glorious Rascallion resonators. The name's FOXSOL. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to some more Wuthering Waves. Hopefully, wherever you're at, you're having a terrific day. So, I'll put it this way. You've probably most likely already read the title to this video, so you already know what we're about to get into. A very much controversial topic, it seems like. So, unlike most of my other intros where we're going to get too far into it, I'll just say it like this. The bar is open, drinks are on tap, sit down, relax, and get prepared for one heck of a discussion. So today's conversation topic for this video is going to be the lack of diversity in gaming. A topic that I know will stir up controversy, most likely, even though I don't want it to, but it stirs up controversy right now in multiple gaming communities because of the perceived theory that, games lack diversity for different people. And it's not a new issue, trust me. I know it's not a new issue, but this is an issue that has seemed to have taken new shape, new form, if you would. It has evolved in the most recent years, especially since, COVID. So whether you're a casual player, whether you're a hardcore gamer, you've probably seen or heard this conversation, this debate, this argument, whatever you would like to call it, just around this topic in general. And I'll be honest, I'm a little naive. I haven't really followed this discussion that much. I've seen it here or there, but frankly, I've always had the same opinion that it seems like to me there's a lot of misunderstanding or in general miscommunications, especially when it comes to the game developers and the communities they serve, as well as people within their own game communities that just don't understand. Like, there's misunderstanding completely. So what is bringing upon me making this topic video? Well, I'll put it this way. In the more recent last couple of days, I've been on vacation from WutheringWaves, and I have been playing Black Myth Wukong, a game that I have been enjoying. It's a Souls-like experience. It's a great game so far. A couple of performance issues here and there, but otherwise, it's been a fantastically amazing game to me. And I'm going to put it this way. I've been a little dumbfounded because I went online. I was doing some research, with forums and Reddit and everything to see what people have discovered because, in Souls games and everything, there's always little secrets here and there. And I wanted to see what people have found, right? And then I've coming across reviews of this game that is criticizing this game for its lack of diversity and its, improper not really improper, but, its lack of representation for certain groups. And like I said, when I've seen things like this, I was completely dumbfounded. Prime example is that a couple of reviews that I remember looking at is they were saying straight up, like, the game has no representation for the LGBT community. There is no female monkey. There is no relationship style. There's different things that people got upset with, and they're making different reviews on these forum sites and everything else stating, hey, there's lack of diversity. There's no proper representation. And I'm going to put it like this. I'm not sure about you, but Black Myth Wukong is a game that is very, very much well known. It is deeply rooted in Chinese mythology. It has a cast of characters that's within this entire story that reflects Chinese culture heritage. Okay, it's a story that was written 500, 600 years ago or so, that tells the story about a fucking monkey. Okay, it's about a monkey. There is reviews. There is people out there that is going out of their way discussing straight up that there's lack of diversity. There is, you know, no proper representation for racial things, for gender things, stuff like this in a game about a fucking monkey. I was dumbfounded. Okay. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because, and especially in a WutheringWaves video, is because first and foremost, WutheringWaves, I know sooner or later is going to hit its brick wall. Right? It's going to hit this brick wall where people are going to be doing the same thing. They're going to say lack of diversity. They're going to say lack of representation for a game like WutheringWaves. It's already happening with GLYTCH Impact, especially with 5.0's trailer and everything that came out. We had a boycott and everything that happened with GLYTCH Impact that, you know, people said, hey, look, it's taking cultural inspirations, but it's not actually doing proper representation. I understand their point of view, and I also understand the point of view that if you're going to boycott a game, you should boycott a game, not say, hey, I'm going to boycott the game to you, but I'm still going to play it. That's why that boycott is going to fail. But the more you look into it, and the more you realize that, you know, games, you know, like GLYTCH Impact, WutheringWaves are going to face, you know, similar criticisms that Black Myth Wukong is suffering right now. It's the thing is that it makes no sense to me. It is, you know, a video game first and foremost. You know, it exists in a fantasy world, all these games. Ones that include everything from furries, you could say, all the way to humans, to half humans, to artificial beings. And, you know, these developers have their own visions for how the story, how the world, how the structure should be. And, you know, this is something that may not align with everyone's expectations of diversity, and that should be respected, I believe, fully. The idea of, you know, diversity in a game. And I think that, like, you know, for example, there was a video that I watched from a team of developers a long time ago that was doing like an indie game, and they had a good little show, a good little video on there. I would have to go find it and see about putting a link in the description. But they are a Western development company that straight up was talking about, you know, the diversity checklist. And this is what I think that, you know, people want, but there's a problem with it. And even the developers kind of stated it. So the idea is that with the diversity checklist, that, you know, games now for some companies are going to be designed with a specific set of diversity criteria in mind, whether that includes characters from different racial backgrounds, representing various gender identities, or showcasing different cultural perspectives. So, you know, on the surface, just like the developer said, on the surface, this sounds like it's a positive trend. It sounds great, you know, that this means more representation, and that this means something that many people, you know, this will mean a lot to many people when it comes to representation in general. But, you know, thinking about this, you know, with all this going down, this is also, well, let's put it like this. This is also something that a lot of people have been advocating for, and that's a great thing. But here's a problem that comes with that, is that when diversity is treated as a checklist item, it can sometimes, I would say, could feel forced or even artificial. Instead of, you know, organically integrating diverse elements into a story, into the character, into the game, it becomes something that's just tacked on to meet expectations. And I feel like this would be what would truly lead to a backlash. So, thinking about that, thinking about like this entire checklist approach, you want developers, you know, someone who's an artist in a sense, like Black Myth Wukong, to add, you know, DLC and stuff like this to have better representation, better diversity in its game, whereas it's not organically been put into the story. Do you not do not people not understand that this right here causes an issue to where you're forcing an agenda, you're forcing an idealism onto people that, you know, it shouldn't be there. I don't think that there is a problem with more diverse games, but yet I don't also think there's a problem with, you know, narrow perspective games. And that's the issue that I think that a lot of people don't take into consideration. Black Myth Wukong is not a game that was developed with the mindset of being a diverse world. Okay, in its own right, it has a diverse cast of characters. It has foxes, it has pigs, it has boars, it has beasts, and it has fucking monkeys. I mean, how more diverse can a cast of characters be than that right there? But I understand that that's not what people are actually complaining about. So we're coming into this to where the game now is at a more narrow perspective. And I don't think there is anything wrong with that. The game's not focused on trying to be a diverse game that is targeted to a wide range of people. It's targeted to a certain class, to people who are interested in the myth, people who are interested in the lore, people who are interested in Souls-like games, right? What's wrong with that? You know, what is wrong with the idea that developers want to put their own bias, their own cultural bias into a game? That's a whole different topic that we'll get into here in a little bit, but I don't think there's nothing wrong because, you know, I now know that Western developers nowadays, they're pretty much making the argument, like, well, Western communities, let me put it that way, are making more of the argument that, you know, infusing a variety of cultural perspectives into a game, you know, creating, you know, more representation, more diversity will help create a richer, a more, you know, engaging narrative that will appeal to a larger audience than ever before. But I don't think people in these communities understand that, you know, achieving this balance that you're talking about, you know, is easier said than done. Because what works for one audience may not work for another. And this will always lead to drama and conflict. It's that diversity that is trying to be pushed onto others that they don't want it pushed on them. I'm not against diversity. I'm not against a game that is based, that is developed, that is stories driven around diversity. I think it's a great idea. We have plenty of games like that. My problem is that we have people out there that is trying to take something that's already been created and redraw it. And what I mean by that is they're not trying to take like a copy and paste. They're not going to go ahead and take Black Myth Wukong and go make a whole new game and base it like this. No, they want to take Black Myth Wukong itself and change Black Myth Wukong itself. This is the problem that I think that, you know, the fight and the debate with Genshin Impact has been. Is I understand, you know, and I'm all for that, you know, if Genshin or WutheringWaves would include more diverse racial characters in it, that would be great. But the thing about it is that you're trying to go ahead and take whatever this artist's vision, whatever this company's vision is, their target audience is not you. Their target audience is not this person over here in America. Their target audience is in China. They're a Chinese company that released the game globally, but they only care about their Chinese market in general. And you want to have them change the game for you. I'm gonna put it like this. I think the best example for this would be like music in general. Music artists in general as well, but we'll go with music artists. If you are a country singer, your target audience for your music is not a person who listens to metal. It's not a person who listens to rock. Your target audience is a person who listens to country. If you're a rock person, you know, you create rock music. Your music is not targeted to a country audience. It's not really to, maybe it is to the rock audience, but it's not to this audience or that audience. You're trying to focus on the rock audience. If you're a metal, you're playing for the metal heads out there, you know. And in general, your other audience is people who in general love music altogether. But your main focus is trying to hit this particular audience that you know is going to like your stuff. You don't see, you know, country music communities go ahead and be like, oh, rock needs to have more country in it because, you know what, I listen to country. No. Country, that community, instead of doing that, they don't listen to the rock person. They don't go bitch the rock thing. They go find another artist who's in country and go listen to country music. Like I said, I don't think there is a problem with diversity. I think there is a problem with the mentality that some people out there just don't like the fact that this game is a narrow perspective. It's a linear perspective. You know, to them, for some apparent reason, they can't understand that a game that has a narrow perspective to it can still have, you know, great characters, that can still have stories that can still resonate with people, that can still be a good game. Whereas more diverse, you know, oh, it's more richer, it's more thing. It's for a broader audience. Yeah, I get that. But I think that at the same point in time that we're not understanding that we're all different. There is nothing about, like, when they make, you know, a white character in Genshin Impact, right? It's not about racism. Like, Genshin Impact is not going against for racism. They're not building that character to go ahead and be like, ha ha, we're racist, screw you. That they're building it because that is their vision, that is their game. If you don't like it, don't appeal to you, it don't align with your perspective, then don't play Genshin Impact. The same thing, like I said, this is going to happen to WuthringWaves, and the same answer is, if it doesn't appeal to you, it doesn't appeal to your community, it doesn't appeal to your personal realm, then don't play it. And I will say the same thing for Black Myth Wukong. If you're Black Myth Wukong, if you don't like it because you know you can't play as a female monkey, because you can't determine the sexual preference of the monkey, because there's not enough, you know, racial representation in that regards in your personal mindset, even though there's multiple races in the game, then at that point in time, don't play the game. Why are you criticizing something that is a creative vision for this developer? So that's why, like, I'm going to say for my comment section here, my question here is the most important question I have here. Should developers actually change their creative vision to meet the demand for diversity? It's a complex issue. On one hand, diversity, yes, it can make a game more inclusive. It can appeal to a wider audience, but you already have games like Baldur's Gate that does that. On the other hand, forcing, you know, a narrative, you know, on one hand, like I said, on one hand, you could force a narrative or alter the story that includes, you know, diverse elements that just doesn't fit naturally and can, you know, ruin the experience of that game. I know that, you know, some games out there, they're designed to explore specific themes, specific cultures, you know, specific narratives. And I think that's all right. Not every game needs to represent every type of perspective. It does not need to represent everything. And I'm going to include WutheringWaves. I'm going to include Genshin into this because it's going to keep coming back. So tell me again in the comment section below, do you honestly believe that developers should change their creative visions just to meet the demands of others for more diversity, for more representation? Or can we not agree that, you know what, it is what it is, and we can either, and if you don't like it, you can move on and go somewhere else? Or I really not exactly sure how to put this, because I'm not trying to offend nobody, but I'm trying to get a point across that I feel that there is, you know, a role here that we as gamers should take. I mean, back in the days, in the, like, when I was growing up in video games, man, you know, I have friends who are homosexuals that, you know, they love Duke Nukem. They love certain games. They love Marcus Phoenix. They love, you know, Gears of War. They're good guys. They're good people that I've met in time. And there's nothing wrong with them. They enjoyed it. They never, you know, once in my life ever, you know, debated about, oh, or force a narrative like, oh man, like, I wish this, you know, was in here and thing. No. They just played the game and they enjoyed it for the story it was. It's like a book, you know. If you write a book and, you know, you don't express, you know, certain elements in it, it seems that nowadays you also get attacked. I don't know. I'd like to get people's thoughts on this, in all honesty, because I think it's an interesting topic. I think it's honestly something that should be discussed just in general. But I think that we should be respectful to one another. I think we should be respectful for the people who want diversity in games. I think we should be respectful for the creative vision of narrow perspective games that don't have diversity, that's just there to tell the story that it wants to tell and let it happen. I don't know. But you guys tell me what you think in the comment section below. And I really do like to hear your thoughts, because like I said, I'm a little naive in all this. Maybe there's something that I'm not thinking and you guys can help change my perspective. Or maybe, you know what, maybe I'm hitting the nail on the head and you guys can tell me that too. In any case scenario, I'm going to let you guys be. You have yourselves a great day, great evening, wherever you're at. And I will go ahead and catch you on the flip side. Peace.